Podcast Principles isn't actually technically legally formed as a business. You do all the contract work.
Yeah, I run the whole business contract because.
Yeah, why? Break that down for me, because like as an actual business, it's just you're in New Jersey. It's like $200 for the year for the filing, and then like the actual annual report.
Mm-hmm.
Why not do it in an actual business? You're successful enough. You can have a bunch of tax write-offs. I write off my put on my rent under a business.
Oh, I get the same write-offs you get.
Okay.
So yeah.
So why go with the contract route instead of forming an actual business?
Well, I would say first, it's easier to pay myself, so it's way less paperwork to do that. I get the same write-off. I get the same write-offs and tax benefits up to a certain income amount. So it actually doesn't. It's neither here nor there for LLC up until you hit like probably six figures or multiple six figures. Now it's gonna make more sense to do that. Dude, my revenue was like 5,000, I think it was 8,000 the first year, 12,000 the next year, maybe 40,000 the next year, right? So it was like, I don't need a fucking LLC. Like, I'm just trying to see if this is going to work. My accountant was like, don't worry about it. I think that, and that's an opinion that I had, by the way. Like, I think a lot of people start LLCs and they go nowhere because they thought that it was starting an LLC. That was the thing you needed to do. All I needed to get was a customer. I'll figure out the tax shit later. Like, my taxes are dialed. Like, everything's good. I got a good accountant. We're all good. But like, there's benefits to LLCs that accountants can go into, and that's not my area of expertise, but I've been good. I pay my taxes and I'm all set. So like now, this year / probably into next year, the business is doing its thing. Like, it's going to make sense to start a real entity. But to be completely honest with you, I didn't know how well or if it was even going to work. So I wasn't going to it was just a decision that I made. Like, if I would have made an LLC, nothing would have been different right now. Right. So I would just still be doing what I'm doing. Right. So it's just a decision that I made. But I think a lot of people overhype the LLC, where it's like, dude, like my buddy went from a videographer freelance to LLC. Like, there's a lot more things you have to consider. And I don't really know what those things are, but I know they're there. But yeah, it's kind of just a decision that I made. It wasn't like a strategic decision or anything like that. It just kind of happened. Like, and now this year I'll be like, my accountant will be like, hey, we should probably do that.
I think that makes a lot of sense though, honestly, because looking back, I've had this LLC for Willie T Productions. I've had that for a few years, and like a lot of the time it's kind of sat there as part of Ambiguous Podcast Solutions. All the money I made went towards APS, which was the partnership. And now it's like, okay, let me kind of cut that off. Money I'm making through production, which is my arm of the business, go into WT Productions and build that business. So yeah, it is an LLC. Currently making about $300, between $300 and $500 a month, which is great. Expenses is maybe $100. So all that money is just sitting there to be used, but
and I still have,
your point though, it makes not much of a difference.
No, and I still have a business. Like, hey, you want to get into business credit and stuff like that, which I'm getting into now. Like, I'm gonna have to get legit, or whatever. But I have a business debit account, I have a business debit card. Like, everything's good. TIN, all that shit. Like, I'm fine. I'm good under the law. I'm fine. But yeah, it's like I think people like the idea of having a business. That's one thing. But I also do think it's a good exercise to get LLC'd because you get to understand that process, right? Like, I do understand the process. I've helped other people, start businesses and stuff like that. So I think it's still a good exercise. It's a good thing to have and do, but it's not a requirement to start. And for me, like, I have no problem being a freelancer. Like, to be honest with you, my strategy is revolved around my name and my personal brand. So Podcast Principles is, a concept and it is a thing, right? But it's like, if I don't sit on LinkedIn all day, the clients don't come, and it doesn't say Podcast Principles at the top of my profile. It says Ryan R. Sullivan, which is my name. So, it's really my name and likeness, and but that's part of my strategy. Like, that's the brand that I'm building over the next 10 years. I don't know how, everybody does it differently. Some people you have a Sweetfish Media, right? Like James Carberry, who owns Sweetfish. Yeah, I know James, but people talk about Sweetfish a lot more, right?